the scenery outside reminds me of my pride, reminds me of my will. At the windowsill, I sit and see the grays, the children they all play and laugh amongst themselves. Somehow remind me of myself on the merry-go-round.
What is going on YouTube? It is Trev. Okay, I want to read something to you that I just came across on Twitter because I have some comments about it. So the person who tweeted this, I don't know, but the name is Sheba Arab Army, and it's at LABIB_CO. Okay, all right. So anyway, the tweet was: is it possible for our sister Web3 Queenie, is her name now, we used to know her as Shib Queenie, right, to explain why she parted ways with her support for the Shiba project? I would correct that, as you all know, because Shiba Inu and the Bone Shibarium project are two totally different things, right? Everybody's coming out and saying this to you now. Not everybody. A few of us coming out and saying this to you now, and we're going to keep saying it until, if ever, that point gets driven across. But anyway, I'm sorry. If you're willing to discuss this topic, I would be grateful so that the Arab community and the Shiba army can better understand the details. Of course, if you allow me. Well, I've spoken to Queenie a bit about this subject. We've talked about her other project too, KTO. She actually even came on the channel and did an interview with me talking about KTO. But we have talked quite a little bit about the whole Shib situation. I've talked to her. I've talked to Trophius. I've talked to a few of them, right? Queenie replied, and this is the part that I really want to get to. Now I'm going to read this to you. It's kind of long, right? Okay. There's a number of reasons, but ultimately Shaitoshi removed and ostracized the only people on the team who were actively trying to build and protect Shib. They were also the only people to ask questions about why promises hadn't been fulfilled or where development, where development was at for different projects within the ecosystem. Wellies, the game, things like that, right? Okay. Trying to hold someone as elusive as Shy accountable was exhausting, and it's telling that his response to being asked where treasury funds are going and what his involvement with tokens being pumped and dumped on the community was to remove us and say we can't be trusted. This story hasn't changed, I'll tell you that, right? Usually if you've got somebody who's lying about things, who's fabricating a story to cover their own ass or whatever, every time they tell the story, it's usually a little different, right? This is the same exact story she told me. Exactly. Okay. Initially, I was told to reapply through the intake form and that he was only removing me from the internal team chat because he didn't want me to share anything with the others that were removed. I stood by them, though, as they were the people I worked with every day, not devs I spoke to or heard from once a month at best. He also chose to bring back someone who has been exceptionally nasty and toxic toward me, so that also told me all I needed to know about the new team's opinion of me, and that it would not be a safe working environment or a team I could feel proud of being a part of. That part of it, I hadn't necessarily heard, that there was one particular individual who had been kind of nasty to her. But I did hear from several people from that prior team that some of the people that were brought back were people that had been investigated for insider trading at one point by the defense breed. So whatever, hearsay, right? But this is what we're hearing, and like I'm saying, the story really hasn't changed, right? So to me, that rings of it being true, right? But again, my opinion. Okay. Queenie goes on, and then there's a little conversation, right? Also, the sheer number of death threats and disgusting behavior from the SHIB community when I tried to speak out against Shy was enough to make me step back from it all as a whole. I'll correct her there, because those death threats didn't come from the SHIB community. My opinion, as you all well know, is that the SHIB community are the people who are invested in Shiba Inu, not concerned about bone and leash and shibarium and all those other things, except for how they would, if they ever would, benefit Shiba Inu. And since we know that none of it does, then we can safely say that anyone who supports Satoshi and supports his project, which is shibarium, bone, leash, whatever, right, is the bone army or the shibarium army, but they're not the SHIB community, they're not the SHIB army. So I would correct her there, but I understand that that's just the vernacular, right? That's what Satoshi kind of built and made. He made everybody relate these two together, but we really have to try hard to start separating it, because we need to break out of that. Okay, all right. I'll always support SHIB, but never again in the same way or involvement. All right, I'm going to stick up for her here, and I'm going to say that she is absolutely 100% correct. This young lady strikes me as someone with a lot of character, who is honest and upfront. And I'll tell you why I believe that what she's saying here is absolutely true. Very recently, and I've alluded to this in maybe my last couple of videos about SHIB. Very recently, I've tried to put together a little think tank of some people who I knew were pro, or at least claimed to be pro SHIB, right? And one of those people was Matthew Perry, who everyone knows is my mentor and a person that I really respect. But I will say that trying to have a conversation with Matthew is like trying to have a conversation with my cat. I'll say something, and then it turns around and walks away and never comes back again. And that's trying to do anything with Matthew. We've gone back and forth through Twitter DMs, and he'll ask me a question and then never comes back for the answer. And then I'll answer it, and he's gone. I've got a message sitting there waiting for him that is a reply to something he asked me that he hasn't even looked at in a week. So it was absolutely impossible to include Matt in this, which I find very surprising, because Matt has been very supportive of Shiba Inu. He owns a lot of Shiba Inu. So I thought that Matt would be interested in putting something together where maybe a group of us would brainstorm and come up with some ideas, but he's been very elusive. I haven't been able to get him, right? I'm just being honest. The other person was Claybro, who puts out, 1, 2, 3 videos a day about Shiba Inu. He seems to very much be on the same page as myself and Matthew. But he had been replying to me. We were talking about maybe putting something together. He asked me about a schedule. And and he asked me what it was, basically, when I started talking about in my videos, and I think I might even mentioned it to him, about the fact that I was thinking we needed to put something together where we kind of we did something about the burns. We had to come up with a way that we could do these burns ourselves, because obviously we all know shibarium ain't going to do it, right? When I started talking about that, all of a sudden I didn't hear from him anymore. He didn't reply to me. But I see in his videos, all of a sudden he's coming up with ideas about, if he's a validator and puts all the money into burning SHIB, or, basically all the things that I was trying to say, Now all of a sudden I'm seeing his videos talking about, well, maybe we need to take it into our own hands. Well, yeah, that's what I was telling you, a week or two ago. And he stopped getting back to me. And I guess maybe now the idea is his. I don't know. I don't really know Claybro that well. Some people like him, some people don't. I just know that he seemed to be on the same page. And I thought he would be someone that would be great to include in this think tank, right? I also had a developer who, and I still have a developer, who wanted to get together and, well, agreed to get together with all of us collectively and brainstorm and chat about some ways that we could come up with that we could potentially help to burn off Shiba Inu. This is a man with just a boatload of experience. Worked for some of the largest projects and people that we know about. He knows his stuff. He knows blockchain in and out. He is a full stack developer. And he had some ideas about smart contracts that the community could trust, where we could basically burn SHIB, but it would never touch anybody's hands, right? He had some really good ideas about that, and I wanted to, and he was going to be included in this conversation. But those other two guys, I don't know where they are, right? The last person, and the whole point of this, was Queenie. Now, as much as I talked to Matt, and as much as Claybo really seems to be into SHIB, Queenie is the one who got immediately back to me. And even though she is on the absolute opposite side of the world as me, I think there's like a 13-hour difference or something between where I am and where she is. So anything convenient for me is overnight for her and vice versa, right? Despite that, despite the fact that it was her anniversary, despite the fact that she had things planned on the weekend or whatever, she was willing to get up whenever she needed to get up, work it out however she could possibly work it out, and jump into this conversation with us. Now, she's long gone from that team, right? Long gone from that team, from the Shibarium team. But, as she said, she and a few others always tried to defend SHIB. And she's always up for the SHIB community, right? So, she proved that to me. With all the difficulties, and even though she's far removed from it and working on a total other project, when I presented this to her and told her we might have some ideas that could help the community, she said, all right, well, let's figure it out. Let's work it out, right? She got back to me. She was willing to do it like this. So when she says that she will always support SHIB, I believe her. And you should believe her too. This is a woman of character, and I appreciate her. And whether it's with SHIB or with KTO, Kunatori token, that she's involved with now, she's involved in it. I think you can trust it. So, my hat's off to Queenie for responding to this question. She didn't need to. My hat's off to her for attempting to continue to support SHIB, with whatever time she has or whatever. And my hat's off to her for coming out with maybe some tough truths about what that team was and what she went through, okay? I appreciate you if you ever see this or if anybody tells you about it. I really do. I appreciate you. And if those other guys ever decide to, put this thing together, I'll be back in contact. And I think it would have been phenomenal to have a conversation with Queenie, who had the inside scoop and could tell us exactly, what the agenda was, right? So we knew, and we could bring that to the community and formulate a plan on a better way to do it. But I don't know. I'm here. I'm willing. She's willing. I don't know what these other guys are doing, But you know, maybe they've got other plans. I don't know. Anyway, thank you to Shib. Thank you to everybody who watched this video and listened to me kind of rant a little bit. But also my praise for this young lady. And I will talk to you shortly. All right, ciao.